Hey YouTube, it's Morgan, aka The Mountaineer, here once again at Kanawha State Forest for my first hike of 2021. I'm going to do the old familiar Overlook Rock Trail. Same thing as usual, park down here, do the road section, go around, save the overlook and the pipe and coffee portion until near the end of the hike. And I think I'm going to mix it up this time. I'm going to, instead of setting up at the top of the rock, I'm going to go down to the little area below the main overlook. But anyhow, I'm going to get out of here, start my tracking, and start hiking. Across that valley right there, up in this area, is actually the Overlook Rock. I have a feeling that little clearing over there you can see right through here, I have a feeling that's where I stopped and took those pictures before of the rock from the other side, because right there is where you go down, and then right down through there is the Overlook Rock. So here's the good old familiar Overlook Rock. Right about there is where I usually set up. Still kind of see out there a little bit of a clearing. There's the site, ridge lines and power lines. And down there's my destination. But it'd be a little bit tricky to get down there. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording, put my phone in my pocket, and use my trekking poles. Just came down from that knob up there. That's the rock, came down this side. And then here's the underside of the rock, of the Overlook Rock. Pretty cool looking. But then there's this whole other formation down here. And yet another little outcropping there. And then as you can see, lots of other rocks there. That continues down. It's the other side, and then another point out there. So, a whole lot of rock right through here. And at least 2 more points below. And then that one down there. And even down here, you still get a nice view. Well, I went ahead and decided to come down the next level. And here it is. Got this huge scoop out of here. Little overhang. So if you can tell by the trekking poles, I think right about there's the spot. Pretty good drop off. That next level. So it looks like there are at least 4 different levels to this. It's a beautiful formation. Still, get the view. Another knob over there. Over on that side's the trail where I came up. So I'm gonna pick a spot down here somewhere, set up my chair, table, and get things going. Guys, today I want to talk about things old and new. One new thing, I got some Rattray's Red Rappery. New blend to me. Of course, it's I believe a very old blend. But I'm gonna open it here for the first time today. Got the old tobacco sticking on the paper. And I'm gonna be smoking it in a pipe that is new, as in I haven't yet smoked it. I've had it for a while. I can't remember when exactly I got it, but it's a Brian Doran, just kind of a billiard. Saddle stem. Not too long, not too short, but relatively light for clinching. And I have this snappable bowl, backpacking bowl, or plate. This is the plate. My sister got me, sister and brother-in-law got me a cup, bowl, and plate set for Christmas, as well as the coffee making device I'll be using here in a minute, and an awesome print, I believe like watercolor print of Dolly Sods. So I'm going to set that there and let it dry out a bit while I get out some other stuff. So obviously this is, as I mentioned, my first hike of the new year. It's the second. But it's an old trail. I've probably done this is probably my 4th or 5th time, probably 5th. A new mug, one I made. It has West Virginia on it. It's a twisty mug. So I'm going to be using that. see I put a filter in there just to slow it a little bit. Just has 3 clips that clip on the top of the mug. Still pretty quick. Tasty. I don't know what's up, but I guess maybe it's the new year. People trying to get in New Year's resolutions or have family in town or something, but this trail was by far the busiest I've ever seen it. I think only 1 or 2 groups of people was the most I've ever seen. When I left the parking lot, there were 4 other cars. 2 of them had 1 group of 3 people. Guy pulled down as I was getting ready to go, and 2 other people walked over to him. Met them on the trail. And it looked like a grandmother, mother, and daughter. An older couple with a beautiful golden retriever, and they were giving lots of treats, telling them to sit and I guess jump up on me, which I wouldn't have minded, as I love dogs. A pair of guys. I know there was 1 other group, but I can't remember. And then just now, when I was doing all this, there were people up there spitting for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But it's interesting. When you kind of, though this trail was, to me, it's old and familiar, you know, if you just look around a little bit more, pay a little bit more attention, you can see a lot more. For example, right where I'm sitting, I knew there were other rocks down here, but never went down other than the 2nd layer down. And I had an idea that, you know, basically crossed paths over there, but I never, you know, when I'm sitting here with the pipe and coffee, I can look out, but I never really noticed the trail. I mean, I can't make out the individual trail, but I can see the crest where it's at. And then I can see people over there, actually. So, something old that seems new. I finally got a new cell phone. Got the iPhone 12 Pro Max with the most storage. I wish they put the good cameras in the smaller phones and the higher memory in the smaller phones. It'd be smaller to carry around and operate. It'd be cheaper. and in less than 2 days I'll start my new job. Of course, I'm a little nervous about it, but excited. I don't deal very well. I'm always apprehensive and anxious about new situations. So I'm feeling that, about this, like I would anything, but then the fact that this is during the virus, and don't know exactly when I'll be in and out of the office, and some of it I'll be at home trying to learn a new job. So a lot of new things going on. But a lot of old familiar things, it feels good to get back in the woods after 10 or so days, I guess. 23rd, yeah, about 10 days. And I guess the day I was in the woods last was the day I actually accepted the job. So that's kind of cool. But I'll obviously be since I will now have a job again, childcare will be one possible point of concern, but I believe essentially we just need to apply with some government thing to, I guess, to be considered an essential employee, and so need to go through that, and then it'll just be aftercare for the boys at their same old daycare. Andrew won't have to do anything because he's already on site, and Nathaniel just gets a bus over like 2 blocks to the daycare from the school. But getting that set up is the big thing. And then I think the 18th or something like that, we won't have to worry about Nathaniel not being in school. West Virginia is shifting to, I think, from middle school on down, being in school all the time no matter what. So that's good. I'm really glad that he'll get back and into that atmosphere and see his friends. And then with aftercare, he'll probably see some other friends that he hasn't seen in a real long time. Well, I guess since this whole thing began in March. But I certainly will miss my lonely weekday hikes. I don't know about you guys, but I had an excellent Christmas. We all did. We had Christmas at my wife's grandmother's as usual, Christmas Eve. And we went over to her parents first. Opened presents with them. And it was real bad getting back over the mountain. It was windy, blowing sheets of rain, and still foggy. I don't know how it could be that windy and still be foggy, but that mountain is terrible. And then it was something like 49 degrees when we left, and 20 minutes later when we got to her grandmother's house, which that area is along the river in a valley. Usually it's a lot warmer. It had dropped 10 degrees in that amount of time going into a warmer area. So we had fun getting home that evening. We were gonna wake up Christmas morning, go to open presents, all that, go to Shayna's grandmother's for Christmas lunch, and then head up to my parents. And it was just too bad to go to Kaiser, but we made it over to her grandmother's without any problems. The roads weren't great, but made it home. Ate Chinese carry-out. But got up I got up at 5:15 on the 26th. We got ready and got out the door, I don't know, 6:15, 6:30, something like that. And instead of going up through the mountains where I normally do, we did go up, just stay on the interstate as long as we could. Went up into Maryland. Stopped multiple times because my wiper fluid was frozen. Stopped in Clarksburg, stopped in Grantsville, Maryland, and I know we had one other stop, but you know, kind of top off the tank each time and wipe my wipers down with their squeegee and stuff. Wipe my windshield, not my wipers. But actually I did, you know, break off any ice or anything. But and then by the time we got to Cumberland and LaVale, dropped down off the mountain, it had warmed up and it thawed out, and it was fine from then on. Got to Kaiser, and I think they only had like half an inch or an inch. I think we ended up with about 7 inches or something. We had a good time in Kaiser. My sister and her family got there an hour or two after we did. And you know, it's always hectic with five boys under the age of 10 running around the household. But it was fun. My dad had cooked Christmas dinner, but we took it all up to my Aunt Pat's and ate with her and my granddad. Had, you know, then opened presents. And it was a good time, really good time. By the time we came home Sunday, there's one traffic camera up in probably the worst area of the road, real high elevation, and the road looked terrible the whole time every time I checked. And it was clear pretty good by Sunday morning. Well, right before you got there, going up a hill, I guess it was totally shaded. There was still a lot of slush and stuff, but it wasn't bad. But other than that, the road was wet but clear. Mom and Dad gave us each a little bit of money to just get ourselves something. And I had mentioned a grinder to Dad, getting an electric coffee grinder, and so I ordered one. It should be here Monday. Excited to get that thing. Just be able to load it up a bit and run some coffee quick. I can actually see a patch of road. I just made out traffic lines, but anyway, so I'm excited to get that, set it up. My in-laws got me what I asked for, which was that, I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I don't know if I've edited all mentions of it out or what, but I asked for a K-Duo, Keurig K-Duo, which is both like a K-cup maker and a 12-cup coffee pot. And they got that for me, and I got it set up Christmas Eve, and ran my first little pot of decaf because I had decaf I've roasted. And I guess I'm used to a little 4 or 5 cup coffee pot. I put 1.5 times as much coffee as I do for that in it, and then I think I made like an 8 cup pot. And so it was a little weak, tasty but very weak. And then I made the next morning on my 3rd K-cup. I messed up. I wasn't paying attention. This thing has an auto off after 5 minutes. But unlike other ones, when you turn them on, other models I've dealt with, you turn them on and you have to wait for it to warm up before you can input what you want. Well, this thing, you can input it, you know, turn it on, put the capsule with the K-cup in and hit the buttons, and then as soon as it's done heating up, it brews. I wasn't thinking. I did that, and I went back and I was doing some other stuff. Went back and I was like, okay, it's warm, it's been long enough, and opened the thing and shut it and brewed it, so my cup overflowed. So lessons learned there. But I rearranged my coffee counter. My old Keurig sat on like a drawer thing with a bamboo top for K-cups. And so I moved all that stuff out and really wiped down the counter, and then put the Keurig where the old one was, but moved the drawer thing over and put my electric kettle on there and some other stuff. But then when I get this grinder set up, it'll sit on top of there. And got an organizer little rack thing for my AeroPress, so I put stuff on that. But so lots of coffee stuff for Christmas. So how was your Christmas? Hopefully good. As I mentioned, mine was pretty excellent. Made great memories. Spent a lot of good time with family. Had safe travels. Ate a lot of really great food. Got a lot of really great and useful presents. Just a great time overall. I don't know about you guys. I never make New Year's resolutions. A goal for this year, it's kind of a multifaceted goal that, you know, it's not a complete it all by the end of the year, but I want to, you know, make strides toward it basically. But it's essentially pottery. I want to get the basement cleaned out, get that portion of the basement cleaned out and set up, make a studio. I have I have that wheel that's just been sitting there for months, and I just haven't gotten it cleaned out and haven't fully formalized my plans for the layout of everything and what kind of shelving and things like that I need. So I want to clean and do planning, get the wheel set up, spend a lot of time on it. I actually want to start selling a little bit of pottery just to make it kind of a self-supporting hobby. You know, get to a break-even point. With that, I'd like to, I guess I'll start pottery back Tuesday at the studio, and one thing I want to try to throw is kind of like a big jar, but like a piggy bank. And start socking back money here and there. If I sell pottery, put say half of it in there. You know, get money here and there, put a portion of it in there, kind of like I did with the stuff I sold on eBay. But save up toward a kiln, and I don't think for the initial kiln I want to do that, but I have my eye on a very small kiln that I could do a couple things in at a time. But the thing about that kiln is it goes up to cone 10, which is a very very high temperature. It's usually about the top of what you can do with an electric kiln without going to gas or wood fire or something like that. And then it runs off a normal 15 amp wall outlet. It doesn't take, you know, a 20 amp 115 volt or whatever. It's not 220. So it'll just be plug and play. Like I say, it's small. So I want to get that before too long. Start saving up a little bit here and there for that. But I think I might start a YouTube channel with just pottery stuff, and Instagram, just kind of get out there. More of a, this is what I'm doing. Other potters look at it, offer me constructive criticism, help me improve my craft, I guess. But so that's my goal. It's kind of basically to become a better potter. I should have put that seat thing, that bag in my seat, but this is that Zippo hand warmer. It's been sitting in my backpack the whole time. I got it going a little bit before I left. I should have pulled it out and had it. And I'll tell you what, if you're like me, a pipe smoker who has to pretty much be outside, it's kind of a cool little investment. And I think they make 6-hour ones too, which would probably be more practical for, you know, if you're going out to smoke a pipe. But, you know, a lot of us already have caches of lighter fluid. First hike and first pipe of the new year. New pipe, new mug, new tobacco, new coffee making method, old trail but new spot on it, new phone. For the new year. I still have a decent bit of tobacco in here. This is not the biggest bowl, which I actually like. But since I have time, I think I'm gonna start my stove and make some Via coffee. Before I go, I do want to say this tobacco, the Rattray's Red Rappery, is excellent. Probably could have benefited from a little bit of drying out, but it's still burnt well, and the flavor is spectacular. I definitely just found a tobacco that I'm really going to stock up on, but I think I'm going to sign off of here, finish my pipe and coffee, cram down my muffin, and get back on the trail.